This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Don't be afraid to take the baby steps. It's another day, don't forget, 'cause just a prayer away. Don't give up now, trust the process and keep learning. And if you need a friend, we're in this together, together, together. We're in this together, together, together. We're in this together, 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 together as a family in faith and melody.
Hello, hello, hello. Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of INC Radio's Faith and Melody. And for those who are first-time listeners, this is a program where we have meaningful conversations and also listen to inspiring INC or Iglesia ni Cristo original music. This is Jay here in Australia. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to each one of you. But also joining me hosting today's program,
Hello, everyone. I'm Erica from the United Kingdom. Long time no see. Looking forward to having you joining our conversation today.
And I'm Henry. Sorry, I'm Henry here in Germany. I'm pretty far away from my fellow co-hosts, but we're all still close together in today's episode of Faith and Melody because sometimes we do feel overwhelmed and we need each other because life doesn't always move at a calm, steady pace. Sometimes it feels rushed, heavy, and overwhelming all at once. But today, we're talking about what it means to slow down, listen for God's guidance, and trust Him one step at a time. So, let's get the show started with the first song on our playlist, Guide My Heart. So stay tuned with us here on today's episode of Faith and Melody.
You've been there since the beginning. You have loved me from the start. You were always there to teach and guide my heart. As the world spins on around me, I choose which path to take. You always show me, Lord, which steps to make. Lord, please hear my prayer. Light my way as I walk to forever. Hold my hand, Lord, through the night. Guide me through the dark and help me shine bright. Hold my hand, Lord, and keep my feet on the ground. From you I'll never part. Whatever comes my way, I pray. Please guide my heart. If I face more pain and sorrow and tread a path unknown, I'll have no fear, 'cause you will lead me home. The clouds may hide the rainbow, but like waves that roll ashore, you show me how your blessings overflow. Lord, please hear my prayer. Light my way as I walk to comes my way, I pray. Hold my hand, Lord, through the night. Guide me through the dark and help me shine bright. Hold my hand, Lord, and keep my feet on the ground. From you I'll never part. Whatever comes my way, I'll pray. Lord, guide my heart. I pray whatever comes, please guide my heart.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Jay, Eric, and Henry on INC Radio Fate and Melody, where it is currently 4:07 p.m. in the UK and 12:07 a.m. over there in the Philippines in our main studio. Later on the show, we'll reflect on learning to slow down, trust God's guidance, and take life one step at a time. So, knowing that, we're never walking alone. And so, today's topic is taking life one step at a time. And today, we're not just us talking, me, Jay, and Henry, because we have our lovely guest who technically she's not a guest. She's our Ohana as well. Hi, Chanel. Can you please introduce yourself for the ones that haven't met you yet?
Aloha everyone, I'm Chanel, originally from Hawaii with Kuya Henry out there, but now I'm currently in Germany and I'm so happy to join the the Faith and Melody Ohana today. Hi everyone.
Thank you, Chanel, for being with us. And everyone, before we dive into our discussion today, let's begin with our kickoff chat.
Kickoff chat.
So today's kickoff chat question, just in line with what we're talking about a little bit later in the show, we're asking, when everything feels like too much, what's the first thing you usually do? I mean, it happens to each one of us, right? And we all have our own way to get through those situations. So let us know. For our live viewers, our Ohana there in our live chat, go ahead and let us know what you usually do. What's the first thing that you take or do when everything feels too much? So let's go around the panel here. Let's start with Henry. Henry, what do you usually do when everything becomes a little bit overwhelming?
The answer is 4 letters, FOOD, food. Eat. When everything is a little too overwhelming, I think I realized that I did not have my breakfast or I'm approaching lunch. This actually just happened today, solving a problem. It felt a little too deep in troubleshooting something that was not working. I did muscle through it and we solved the problem, but all I could think about is what time is lunch. And so when things are overwhelming, I like to make sure that I've eaten my meal first. So that's my answer. When things feels like it's too much, I usually look to food. What about you, Chanel?
For me, I have two initial reactions. Either I get paralyzed, I don't do anything, or two, I end up like doom scrolling, which is really bad. But Henry made a really good point of checking to see if I ate, because usually if I'm hangry, and I have food. Food is the answer to all of my problems, including any mental fog I might have whenever I get overwhelmed. So, yeah, I have those three reactions basically.
I like it. I mean, I like both. There's doom scrolling, and then there's food. Actually, I wanted to ask from each one. Like, basically, first, Henry, is there a particular food that you gravitate to when that happens?
No, it's all about convenience, whatever's closest by. So that's why it's not good to have snacks on my table at work. I usually have to walk across the street. And so we have a little shopette area, a food court that we go to. So today's meal included a something that is 2 6 inches put together with meat inside and the vegetables. It was really good. That sandwich, that long sandwich, was a good filling meal. So yes,
I like
convenience
it.
is key.
I like it, and I can relate with Chanel. Like with in terms of doom scrolling, sometimes you just need to get your head out of the situation, and some comedy or some funny videos or some cat videos, kind of helps with that. Let me quickly say hello to some of our Ohana there in our live chat. Right, Rod Kahayag is there saying hello to everyone here on Faith and Melody. Listening while driving to work. Drive safely for everyone that is driving to work right now. Make sure that you stay safe. Thank you so much for tuning in as well and listening. Greetings, he says, from Livermore, Northeast California. Mario Calvello is also there saying happy viewing po from Central Europe. So thank you so much to all of our Central Europe love that we're getting. Manong Delmar is there saying aloha everyone tuning in from work. Have a good day as well. So have a good day to you as well, to Manong Delmar there in Hawaii. Linda Calvello is also there in our chat saying happy viewing, brethren from the hashtag Central Europe. Kuya Johan, Guten Morgen po everyone from Texas. Happy viewing. So happy viewing po. Hi, hashtag Heidelberg cluster, hashtag Texas. And we got a couple of answers there as well. Erica, I just want to quickly, if you want to quickly read some of those answers.
So we have Rod saying that the first thing he does is pray. And as well as Manangdal saying when everything is too much, I just sit back, close my eyes, and sleep. I love all the answers because they're all relatable. So it depends on like what happens, right? Chanel, Henry, and
But
Jay.
what do you do? What do you do,
Well, me
Erica?
personally, okay, I agree. As soon as Henry said food, I was like, that's totally me. But then Chanel said doom scrolling, which I sometimes do, or I feel paralyzed sometimes, depending on like the situation. But as well as if it's too much, I definitely go to sleep. But above all, first thing is I pray. But if it's like something different from all of your answers, I'd go with I go out and take a walk.
I like that. Basically what everyone said. My one is actually distracting myself with a game, right? So I've got. I probably can't say the name. I don't want to say the name and not sponsoring any game. But basically, it's just like a short game that's on my phone. Basically, I used to do this word game when you had to try and guess the word. I'm sure some of you might know what that is, and you have like 5 chances to guess the word. But now I went back to a really old school game. Basically, you click a bunch of boxes, and numbers shows up, and based on those numbers, you have to find out where the bomb is. And then you mark the bomb.
I know
Do
that.
you guys know what I'm talking about? Like there's certain you have to sweep for mines on this board. And so that's kind of like distracts me. I played that for a little bit and it kind of like helps snap me out of the situation. But I have doom scrolled many times as well in this situation.
So I think everyone can relate to our answers.
So that is just a taste, right, Erica and Henry and Chanel, of what we're going to talk about in our discussion today, which we really are keen to get into. So
yes,
Kuya Rod is also sharing his then.
But
yes, go on, Erica.
Yeah, before we go and dive into our topic discussion, we have our musical break. And so we'll be playing Salamat po Ama and Trust the Lord God even more. See you in a bit.
Let us know if it's something that you're willing to pick up as a
Kick off that.
mapapabaya sa aming di sinatapis may dumating, kami mananatiling sa'yo pa rin. Nag-iwang ang aming puso, hanggang ngayon ikaw ang siyang aming kaagapay. Inalakas, inalalayan, salamat sa pagtatagupay. Salamat sa iyo, Ama, salamat sa mga biyaya mo na aming kinakamtan. Ang buhay ko at lakas sa iyo iaalay. Kaligayahan ko, ika'y paglingkuran. Sa buhay ko'y sumapit man pagsubok tiising. Ako'y hindi titigil, pangalan mo ay walhatiin. Purihin ka, awitan ka, ikaw ay sambahin. Ako'y magpapatuloy hanggang salamat ko, Ama. Salamat sa iyong pagsama. Pagpapala ay kinakamtan pa sa bawat sandali ng aming buhay. Nawa'y aming makapiling pa ng upang sa daan ng paglalakbay. Huwag na kaming maligaw.
Welcome back to INCRadio Faith and Melody. We hope that you've enjoyed the first musical break that we've had with the second and third song in our playlist, which was Salamat Po Ama and Trust the Lord God Even More. So now let's dive into our topic discussion. We know that the title is Taking Life One Step at a Time because we know that in life we're always busy and things happen all the time, right? So let's go into understanding the feeling of being overwhelmed. So that doesn't mean that we're weak. It just means that we're human, right? And so what does feeling overwhelmed look like in your everyday life, Chanel?
For me, feeling overwhelmed, like we mentioned earlier, like sometimes I feel paralyzed. I don't want to move. I don't want to do anything. Hence, I resort to doom scrolling. Or other times when I'm overwhelmed, I just can't help but feel this heavy weight on my shoulders where it makes my body feel physically tired. So, yeah, those are my initial reactions with what feeling overwhelmed feels like in my everyday life. How about for you, Erica?
I can definitely agree with what you said, Chanel, because I think how I feel like whenever I feel overwhelmed, the first thing I notice is that I don't know where to start. So it's like that feeling of being paralyzed, right? Because I see so many things that I have to do that I just feel like, where do I start? And that makes me feel like I just don't want to do it anymore, right, Chanel? And so I guess I can relate to your answer. But how about you, Henry?
So imagine you're on your computer and you're trying to submit your assignment, right? And you click the submit button and the submit button gets stuck. You click on it, you click on it, you click on it, and then you realize if you look at your processes on your computer, it's 100% utilization. That's me. So like when you get to a point where you try to process more things and my computer is just not processing anymore, that's when I'm at the overwhelmed. When there's overwhelmed, there's underwhelmed, and then there's just whelmed. Whelmed is in the middle. I can
Well,
control things when I'm whelmed, everything is okay. And then when I'm overwhelmed, it's like I can't do anything anymore. Even though I try to move, I can't move. And that usually for me, that happens when something unforeseen comes into play, right?
Yeah.
I hear about something like, there's been a bad accident. You can't move in the freeway, the Autobahn here in Germany, and you can't drive anywhere. You're stuck because there's too much ice around. That's literally what happened this morning and the other day. We couldn't do anything because there's just all ice over the road. So even if you try your best, sometimes you just can't move. And for me, that's what being overwhelmed is. Like you really want to, but something in you is just not functioning. And so you're at 100% utilization or you just can't move. Right, Jay? Would you agree with that? Like you try your best, but you're just overwhelmed.
it is. I mean, it's basically analysis paralysis in a way, right? There's like so much going on that you are not able to analyze, come to a conclusion, make a decision, make a choice, take an action, right? And it just you freeze up. That's happened many times as well for me in the past. And when I get to that stage and I become too overwhelmed, I just want to whatever I'm doing, whatever it is that's causing the wellness to to overwhelm. You just want to drop everything and just like take a break, go on vacation, just go on holidays because it's too much, right? I think that's why they named it overwhelmed. Is that it just becomes too much input, and you're not able to regulate your. It plays in your emotions too, right? Like when you become overwhelmed, you become stressed, you become a little bit angry and hangry, right? So it plays a lot on your emotions, and it just kind of takes away all your ability to make a logical decision.
I have even like Jared Romo saying feeling overwhelmed to me means that I have to relax my mind for sometimes waiting for the next move or step forward, right? That's right. Like sometimes the first thing we feel is like feeling paralyzed or like we don't know what to do next, right? And so first of all, I wanted to touch up on what Henry said about like feeling like a computer and like the assignment thingy. I was just smiling because I kept myself accountable with that with Jay. back then he was one of the big brothers I had that would be like, okay, I just need you there so that I can do my homework and submit it on time. So shout out to Jay, and also like, Tony, and although Ohana. So I love that, but at the same time, um besides feel like knowing when we feel overwhelmed, why do you think challenges sometimes make you feel a bit pressured or lost, Chanel?
Oh, there's so many factors. I'm just getting overwhelmed already thinking about all the things that made me feel overwhelmed. But as to why I think, um, like when you feel overwhelmed, I mentioned earlier that you just feel this heavy weight. And when you're so into your head, when you're so stressed out, it affects you physically. Hence why I would feel exhausted, tired, and I don't want to move. I physically can't move because the stress is sending my brain signals into overload, and it's telling me
Mm.
stop, drop and roll. I mean, not stop, drop and roll, but like just stop, just chill, just wait a minute.
I love that because that's what we're going to talk about in a bit. Like that, just stop, wait a minute, right? But I want to go back to what Henry has mentioned, which is something that you can't control. So for me personally, I think that sometimes I feel lost or a bit pressured is because there are things that we can't control, right? Whenever we are facing or experiencing certain things. And so, yes, I can control how I react, how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking, or the actions I will do, right? Afterwards. But then again, even if I have a plan A, which doesn't work, I got a plan B, a plan C, and so on. There's times where we don't get our way, right? And that's something that we can control. And so uh, sometimes I feel like because of that, I feel a bit lost because if this doesn't work out and that doesn't work out, then what will work out, you know? And so like Jay, how would you feel or how would you handle that when you feel lost and pressured? Why do you think it happens?
I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, pressure. If you think about the word pressure, uh, initially the imagery that comes into my head is a pressure cooker. Maybe because we've just been using one over the past couple of days. But you know how a pressure cooker, it builds up, right? It's not like all of a sudden the pressure is there. So I think it's the same thing for us. When a lot of deadlines, a lot of assignments, a lot of, responsibilities pile up over a course of the day, a course of the week, month, year, even, right? The pressure builds up, and just like a pressure cooker, it needs to release the pressure, right? Uh, it's very difficult for us to know exactly what to do in a pressure environment because usually you call pressure environments because you've never experienced it before. It might be something new, and it might be a lot of it coming at you all at once. So you don't know what to prioritize, right? That's basically my biggest problem is like when I do become overwhelmed, when it does happen, it's usually because there's so many things that needs to be done, but there's only one of you, right? You need to clean the house, you need to do the dishes, you got to get this ready for your duty, you got to get that ready for work, you got to prepare for the next day, you got to drive someone, you got to pick up like you got a phone call to make, you got so much things that you are thinking of, and you're only one person, right? And usually multitasking doesn't work very well. For computers, great, but we're not computers. We're human. We have emotions and we have limitations on what we can do. And so that pressure builds up over time. And kind of like Henry's analogy, it's like a computer slowing down, right? So just remembering that as well. Generally, a computer has a program manager that manages where the resources go. I think it's when that becomes overloaded that you feel lost and you slow down, right? When there's too much things that you need to do at the same time, your efficiency drops and almost comes to a halt. Most of the time, it actually stops. And just like a pressure cooker, it'll blow if you don't take care of it correctly. So I'm sure we'll get into that later on.
I like the analogy of being a rice. I was gonna say rice cooker.
Rice cooker. We're rice. We're
You
pillow.
know
We're
the
rice.
pressure.
Rice cooker.
Like Henry wants to add up on this.
So I'm gonna take a different imagery. I think I'm being painted as the guy who likes to paint pictures. So, all right. So here's another picture, right? Imagine now I have to convert my inches into centimeters for the international folk. Imagine you're walking in a straight line, and you can only walk within, let's say, 10 centimeters. Your foot it has to go in a straight line. Now you're walking in a open, let's say, open road, all flat, all nice, open road. Only walk within 10 centimeters in a straight line. Anyone can do that. Now imagine the left and the right disappears and you're on a cliff and it's just 10 centimeters wide and you have to walk across that. Then you feel that pressure because you start to understand and realize the weight. If you move just a few centimeters to the left, you fall off. A few centimeters to the right, you fall off. So there's also the other pressure of the weight of that you carry and how risky and dangerous something can be when you notice that there's a fall on your left and to your right. So pressure is not necessarily just about the weight that you feel. It's more about how dangerous or risky a situation is if you fail. Because when you realize sometimes a situation can be so fragile, you'll feel self-inflicted pressure because you know you can walk within that 10 centimeters in a big road, but if that's all you have, then you're a little nervous. And so there's that weight of the fear of failure. There's that overwhelming feeling again that strikes when you know that there is no room for you to fail this challenge. So that's why some of these challenges sometimes can make you feel so pressured because it's something seemingly so simple, but when you have that fear that overwhelms you, then it doesn't become so simple anymore. And a lot of these situations in life does make us feel that way, where whether you feel like a pressure cooker that's about to explode or a situation that feels so risky and so dangerous that your emotions take over you. It might be self-inflicted, it might be psychological, but it does affect your decision making, it affects your focus sometimes, and it can really affect your emotions, right, Erica? It can really just get to you that it becomes so overwhelming.
And because you've mentioned this, like, how can I'm gonna like this question is a bit kind of general, right? But it does point to different aspects or facets. So how can stress affect, your focus or your decision making? Because you've mentioned how stress affects emotions, right, Henry? And do you wanna dive into that?
Yeah. So, stress. What is stress? Stress is another word for pressure. And it's not necessarily the stress that's making to me, this is my opinion, is that it affects your decision making. It's the stress that affects your emotions. And then emotions overwhelm you, causing you to lose focus, causing your mind not to be so available to you. Because your emotions take over, your logic is consumed by your emotions. And so the inability to manage stress is also going to negatively affect how you manage your emotions. It's really a chain reaction of all these things that happen, right? The event that causes you stress, the stress that inflicts your emotions to go haywire, and then your emotions will just touch upon or cloud your judgment and cloud your ability to think of a solution, the ability to move forward, and you start to talk faster, you start to think faster, you start to high 100% CPU utilization. Again, your brain just overwhelmed, Chanel, right? You just start to go higher, faster. Everything kind of goes cloudy. What do you think, Chanel? Would you agree with that kind of situation?
I 100% agree with that. And I think what you and Jay mentioned earlier actually reminded me of another reaction I had whenever I felt overwhelmed. And mind you, this is initial reaction was I'll give an example. Like after I got married, the plan was to move to Germany. I knew this for months. This is what we initially planned. But I guess the thought of moving to an entirely different country with, different culture, different language was very overwhelming for me to think about on top of wedding planning. So my initial reaction was denial. And usually, when you have denial, you kind of forget about it and you leave it on the back burner, which also leads to procrastination. And I think that's something that we all should be aware of. And once you have that awareness, you know how to better control those feelings of overwhelmness, stress. But yeah, I think taking note that denial and procrastination are big reactions, normal reactions to when you have stress or feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, also, I think that you know, let's say that again, I'm gonna pull back the example of when you try to walk between that 4 inches space, whether it be in an open road or whether it be just on a plank. Um, the psychological challenges with that kind of a situation, uh, if you've walked a straight line for your whole life, it's you can do it. You know you can do it. You play that game with when you're children, but then even when you get older, and it's I'm 40, I'm already in my 40s, so your knees and all that good stuff, physical stuff, right? Um, certain aspects of your well-being, even physically, start to affect your physical capabilities and handling these things, and there's some deterioration, and your ability to handle things, it really just it changes. So all these other factors, right? Your experience, your age, your if you forgot to eat, if you didn't have enough sleep, all of these things come into the ability to manage things. There's experience, there's well-being, there's logic, there's all the basically what I'm trying to say is when we take care of ourselves and we keep ourselves at our best mentally, physically, and especially in our topic spiritually, you have that ability to uh, combat and to fight against this type of overwhelmingness that we feel, right? How do you carry a heavy weight? You work out, you carry heavier weights, you lift weights, you do weightlifting. So sometimes I think, there's that term phrase, pressure makes diamonds. So not all pressure is necessarily bad, but when you learn to manage even your weaknesses, you learn to manage your circumstances, you learn to uh, combat against even the unexpected things so that you're not as surprised, because we are all witnesses to those who are older than us and see their experiences and how they choose to fight against certain, if you want to call it, evils, or even some of the natural things. We can learn from the lessons that they have imparted to us through their own experience, and then we can apply it to ourselves so that we can manage the stress. We can learn how to take one life one step at a time. They can serve that example for us so that we don't let stress affect our focus and our decision making, right, Erica?
Yeah, definitely. And also, like, me personally, for example, how stress affects, my focus and decision making. I want to touch up on like what Chanel mentioned earlier with the brain fog, right? When when I feel stressed, sometimes I just I just can't make a decision because I don't know what's going on, if that makes sense. So it doesn't really help when I'm stressed, because whenever I need to make a decision, it doesn't allow me to actually move forward or go and make a decision, especially if it's a big decision, because I know with my current state, I I am not sure about if it's going to be a good decision or not, right? What about you, Jay?
I was gonna go. I like what I can relate to what everyone's been saying when it comes to stress. But I also like what Henry mentioned earlier, just to touch on that, because I think I relate more to that, where stress actually helps me to perform better. Because like you said, there are good stress as well. Stress that can get you out of your comfort zone and get you to like be a little bit more laser focused to the task that you're working on, right? Like sometimes when somebody puts a little bit of stress on you, right, a little bit of pressure on you to demand something a little bit more than normal from you, it gets you out of your comfort zone and gets you to perform a little bit better, right? Especially if it's somebody that's coaching you out of it or maybe encouraging you, but also putting a little bit of pressure on you. It does help, right? A little bit. But the thing that I also want to point out is when I'm in a stressful situation, because you become more focused with the task, you become less perceptive on everything else. Does that make sense? It's kind of like how, when if you want to get a horse to run fast and to run straight, right? To run fast, right? They generally put blinders on the side of the horse so it doesn't get distracted with other things and it just focuses on the task. And I think stress can do that, where you're just focused on that, right? And I forget to be to empathize with other people, to be a little bit kinder, to communicate nicer, right? Because you're so focused on trying to finish this task. And you end up switching to to instinct, right? To being impulsive, like you know what to do, you just want to get it done, and you just focus on that, and nothing else matters. So you're not thoughtful, you're not kind, you're not caring, you're not emphatic. That doesn't there's no time for that because you're stressed, you're under the pressure, and you need to do this thing, right? So I think that's one way that I've experienced stress, is that it does help me to perform better with the task, but then other areas in life, because relationships with people, with our workmates, our family, and everything else, it's not just like one thing, right? It's many, many different aspects put together. And you kind of forget everything else. You forget about being kind, and you forget about asking how they're doing, and is there anything I can do to help you? Because you're just focused on yours, right? Because you've got the stress on your shoulders. So that's kind of like one way that the stress affects me. It can help me perform better, but at the same time, other areas in my social skills kind of fall off the ladder, kind of gets forgotten. So I kind of have to keep that in mind. And when it comes to decision making as well, when you're under the pressure, yeah, I feel like I can actually make good decisions, but not the best decisions, right? Because you're working off instinct. It's kind of like how they always kind of put men under this umbrella that when you're trying to tell them a problem, right, all they want to do is figure out how to fix it, right? Because to them it's stress. Whereas sometimes the other person, like my wife, when she's telling me something, she just wants someone to vent to, right? And to release that pressure that she's been cooking up within her. She just wants someone to listen and just someone to help her get rid of that pressure. Whereas for me, I hear it and I'm like, how can we fix that? Okay, you should do this, you should do that. That's kind of like instinct, right? We're being impulsive, we're not being thoughtful. But yeah, that's kind of like how I've seen it. But I see Erica and Henry and Chanel, I see there's a lot of comments and a lot of insights from our Ohana in chat.
I was going to say, actually, because I love how you mentioned everything that you've shared so far. It makes us human. And I know that everybody shared on the live chat. So go ahead, Henry.
Okay, so let's start off with an acronym from Brother Rod. Kuya Rod, always giving us an acronym. The word is overwhelmed. Overwhelmed, very easily resulting with highly extreme levels of moodiness. I like the moodiness. I'll pause there. Moodiness, very important. Moodiness, experiencing disorientation. And another one, pressure, proving rough experiences strengthen self uniquely, righteously enduring. I think he reused that one. I remember that one from a previous episode, but it's still good. Still always good. Kuya Johan, because it takes you out of your comfort zone, your normal routine gets disrupted. So we get pressured and feel lost. Yes, we definitely can feel lost when you're out of your comfort zone because you've never been there before. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It can take you to somewhere, to new journeys and new experiences. So Brother Jerry Rambo also says, challenges sometimes make me feel lost or pressured because they come with negative limitations in them in a daily life. So yes, we can feel lost, and there are limitations, but we'll talk more about that in our broadcast later today, what to do when we face those limitations, because we do need help sometimes. Kabong Mario Calvello says, many challenges come with the added pressure of how others and ourselves will perceive our performance. The desire to meet expectations or avoid judgment can intensify the feeling of being pressured. And I'm going to be biased and go to my wife's comments, Rachel Inocencio. Challenges can make you feel lost or pressured because there is a lack of clear direction, self-doubt, and the fear you can't meet those expectations. And so that kind of highlights that 10 centimeter wide space of walking. It's that fear that you can easily step off and fall. But what if there was space there? And what if the space next to that 10 centimeters is your loved ones who can help you along the way? To answer the question about how stress can affect your focus, faith, and decision making, because Sister Show, stress makes you feel burdened more than necessary. It depends. I think that children learn more if it's fun, but adults want it more if it's challenging. That's true, right? We're motivated in different ways. Children are motivated by enjoyment, pleasure. Adults are motivated by the thrill of being victorious and how challenging it is. Let's go to another one. Stress can impact a person's emotional and mental capacity to maintain a strong connection to their beliefs. I like that, right? When stress comes, how strong are you holding on to your beliefs? I think that's where we're tested. And I think that's where our faith, especially our faith in this platform, in our episodes about when we hold on to our faith when pressure comes. I think that's where our faith is not just refined, but also defined. Because, I mean, that's where you put your faith into actions. Right, Erica? Would you agree with that?
I actually definitely agree. And also, this leads into our second part of the discussion, right, Henry? But of course, before that, we'd also like to acknowledge Loida saying good evening, po, greetings from the District of Mediterranean, because she's just joined our conversation just a bit earlier. But of course, Henry, what do we have next?
So, well, before we continue with our conversation, we'll be taking a quick musical break, listening to two more songs. First one will be Until Our Days Are Through. Second song, It's Gonna Be Fine. And yes, it is gonna be fine if you stay with us on Faith and Melody. So stay tuned with us, please.
Walking with you, I pray of having you in my life, in my life, holding you, feeling the love that's true. In my heart, in my heart, and when I close my eyes, I see your sweetest smile. I will do everything for us to be together. I'll be here by your side from now until forever. Oh, and I will love you until our days are through. Looking at you, I see the true beauty of you in your eyes, in your eyes. Loving you is all I wanna do. All my life, all my life. And when I close my
I'm gonna go where God leads me. When the world makes me weep inside, there's a place I can call my home. The weight on my shoulders makes me afraid, but I know what I'm fighting for. With God I'll march and conquer. And I can't stop feeling, won't stop breathing. I wait with anticipation. Yeah, I won't stop holding until my fears end. Let God's light lead me. Ooh. It ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although life ain't easy. I'll march with honor. The day is near. I'll receive eternal life. There's a place I can call my own. I'm close to salvation, always prepared. When the Father sends His Son, I'll leave this world to meet Him. And I can't stop feeling, won't stop breathing. I wait with anticipation. Yeah, I won't stop holding until my fears end. Let God's light lead me. Fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although life ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although life ain't easy. I'm gonna go where God leads me. When the world makes me weep inside, there's a place I can come out. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although life ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although it ain't easy. It's gonna be fine, although life ain't easy.
This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Get ready for another week of insightful and inspiring talk story and uplifting INC original music on Faith and Melody. Tuesday, taking life one step at a time. Wednesday, the sun shines through the rain. Thursday, overjoyed, not overwhelmed. Friday, solutions, resolutions. Tune in to INC Radio YouTube channel, Tuesday to Friday at 12 midnight Philippines or Monday to Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific. With Faith and Melody, you have family. You are Ohana.
We continue our conversation about feeling overwhelmed and trying our best to take life one step at a time. So now we are going into finding support when life feels too heavy, because God never meant for us to face life's challenges alone. He invites us to lean on Him and on the people He places around us. So, our question now is, why do we sometimes try to handle everything on our own when we feel overwhelmed? Now, me and Jay, we've been married for a little bit. Chanel, you are the newlywed. And so we're going to ask you, after having been through not trying, but facing many of life's challenges alone, um, and it's good to challenge some things on your own to see how much you can carry, see what you're able to, like when you lift weights, what's your max. So we try to handle everything on our own, but now that now you're married, now you have someone with you. um, why do we try to handle everything on our own even when we're overwhelmed? What do you think, Chanel?
I think even before getting married, my toxic trait was handling things on my own. Even if I needed help, I always had the biggest struggle asking for help. I think my mindset was, if you want the job done, do it yourself. And I've carried that mindset for a long time. To the point where it wasn't beneficial for my health mentally or physically. Sometimes I'd get even sick from all the stress of trying to do things on my own, trying to carry things on my own, when really at the end of the day, collaboration with other people, asking for help, really opens your eyes to different perspectives and how to solve the problem. And now that I'm married, I learn a different aspect of how to lean on others, more specifically my husband. And the great thing about being married or having a wonderful husband as I do is I don't even have to ask. I don't have to tell him what I need. Most of the times, he already does it for me, and that already takes half the burdens away. That already takes away the stress of the day, just knowing that he's already prepared it for me before I even knew that I needed it. So I think the underlying basis for having the mindset of like doing things on your own, also for me personally, was kind of like trust issues, because I've been let down before when I ask people for help and they don't follow through, or they can't help me. And being a newlywed now, like I have a stronger appreciation for my husband, and just knowing that I can trust in him to help me when I do ask for help, or to be there, be someone I can rely on and trust whenever I get overwhelmed or stressed.
And I think that's also just a part of leveling up as an individual, is that when you become married, we're also told to become one. You become one new, you work together as a new unit. And in some of the shows I watch as a child, that that's like one of the best power ups is when you combine two people and they become even stronger together. They're a force to be reckoned with, and they can carry such heavier weights that individually they couldn't carry before. But when you're by yourself and you're all alone, and yes, if you're let down by some people who try to, I give the benefit of the doubt that when someone wants to help you, they try their best, but then they also get distracted over their own situation and maybe put a little too much. Yeah, I can do it for you, and they realize they can't do it for you, and so they kind of let both of you, themselves and uh, whoever asks for help, they let everyone down really, because we all try to carry things. We all try to carry our own weight, the weight of someone else, and it becomes too heavy. And especially, um, we try to find the right people to carry it with, and when you find the right person to help carry that weight for you, especially if in a marriage situation, it makes life so much more enjoyable, much more sweet, much more fun. And even now, I can say personally, me and my wife, we still are learning so much from each other. We've been married for, oh, I got to, on the spot, I'm putting myself on the spot. Let's see, 2012. So we're approaching 14 years of marriage. We're still learning things from each other, right? And we still get overwhelmed individually. And for me, my greatest comfort is going to bed at night knowing that she's there with me. and that we have each other to take on the next day together. And we have our children, we have the joy of our family. That it's from a family perspective, it's I think that's one of God's gifts of inspiration to us. Is individually we may feel overwhelmed, but we have the joy of being together with God's blessings, that we can continue to, as a family, face all of life's challenges. So let me go back to the question again. Pass this on to Jay. Why do we sometimes try to handle everything on our own when we feel overwhelmed?
I mean, I agree as well with what what Chanel said in terms of sometimes you don't want to bother other people, and if you want something right, do it yourself, right? If you want something done right, but I think it also comes to a place for me. What I just thinking about these questions, when we're feeling overwhelmed, maybe we're trying to prove something to ourselves as well, so that we also are just trying to figure things out. But maybe another aspect to that is that we may not know how to ask for help, right? Like I get what everyone has said, and sometimes some people might try to help. When you ask for help, they don't do the job correctly, right? They don't show up, or you don't get the expectations that you were expecting. So there's that, right? And I don't disagree with that. But also another aspect could also be, because I know for me, I've always been self-sufficient, and I have the ability to try and take care of myself, independent, as they say, right? Try to be independent, and as you're adulting and you're growing up, you try to do everything yourself and try to figure things out yourself. So there came a point in time in my life where I didn't know how to ask for help anymore. And it's true. Like once I guess you get married and you marry your best friend, and you have someone that's there supporting you, and also like you're almost sharing the same way of thinking. Like they know what you're thinking before you even say anything, right? It's a great way. It's almost like having two of you almost, because like they can, you support each other in that way. But for those who aren't married yet, right, asking for help is a skill. Sometimes you need to be able to reach out and ask, especially when you're overwhelmed. But I think the trouble with that is you're overwhelmed because the pressure and the stress, it's like it's on you, right? It's generally things that impact you and not other people. So as well, maybe it's coming from a kind point of view, that if you were to ask for help for someone, you are passing on some of that stress to them. And you know that they've got things to deal with themselves. So you don't want to bother them, and you don't want to ask for help. So that's why it can be hard sometimes to ask for help. Especially when you're even feeling overwhelmed, you feel like I can do this by myself. But it's important to know that that option is there, right? That you shouldn't feel alone, because when you rely on yourself too much and you don't learn how to ask for help, it becomes very lonely, right? And becomes very challenging. They always say if you want to move a couch or a refrigerator, it's easier to do it with another person, right? It's difficult, and to face a difficult situation, a challenging situation in life by yourself, it's easier to do it with somebody else that's there that can help you. And that goes with any challenging part in life. It's like we try to face it ourselves, right? But it's always easier. And I think I've learned that taking a slightly easier path, it doesn't mean that you're not enough. It just means that you need help, right? Like we're social people. We're social people. And it's important that we realize that we need other people. And that's why as Christians, we know that we need our Almighty God as well. And when we pray to God, sometimes He sends the right people to help us in that situation. But yeah, there you go. It can be challenging. And it could be something I've learned, which is what they've called learned helplessness. You've just learned not to ask for help, and you've just learned to deal with the situation that's not enough. So yeah, I think it's just breaking that cycle, Henry.
So I wanna paint this picture, a live picture, with my wife listening. I'm gonna paint this picture. Um, so when she has a computer problem, she'll take her time to try to solve it. and then she'll call me over. I tried my best. I can't get the mouse to work, or I can't get something to work. And I press one thing and it works. So and then all is good, right? And then let's flip it around. I'm going in the fridge. I'm looking for butter or salt or something in the fridge, a leftover. I can't find it. I'm yelling to I can't find it. She comes over, 2 seconds, she finds it, just right there. I'm sure a lot of married couples have that thing where they call our spouse over and a problem is solved within 2 seconds. And I paint that example to show that what could be so simple for one person, or I should put it this way, what could be so hard for one person can be very quick for someone else, and that's why we kind of need each other, and that's how you know you're a good fit. When from a marriage perspective, is that you can solve each other's problems very quickly just by having them there, just being there, having that presence. And so it kind of leads us to the next question. It's more of like a soft transition into our next question. At what point do you realize you need help? And so back to the computer example, my wife, she did all that she could. She tried to get the mouse to work, change the batteries, still wasn't working. I come over, boom, quick fix. And I couldn't find the leftover I wanted to eat. Boom, she found it within seconds, and I stood at the fridge for like a few minutes. That's just the dynamics of marriage. So, at what point do you realize you need help? And even more in a more, I guess, more serious situation, we go through certain challenges, roadblocks, obstacles, and we do our best. We try to carry that heavy load. We try to do the research that we need to. We try to talk to the people that we need to. We do everything that we can. When do you ask for help, Chanel? What's the point of you realizing, okay, I can't do this on my own. I'm going to ask. I guess I could ask you as well. Who do you ask? How do you ask for help? Where do you get your help from?
I guess the younger me would honestly wait it out until I explode or or end up getting sick, or I'm physically unable to do anything, and then I ask for help. But the mature me now, which yes, I may be mature, but I know and I recognize I'm still learning. I learned that I still bubble things up. I still keep it bottled like a pressure cooker. But the way I express it is the moment I feel like I need to tell someone about it, then I just tell them straight up, like, hey, I need help. I don't hold it in anymore. I don't allow myself to hold back and keep it in and think like, no, I could do it myself, or I can try one more time. No, I don't do that. Like, I don't restrain myself to ask for help anymore. And I think that's a really huge step as someone who's been holding things in a lot, knows how to stay quiet and just deals with it on her own. I think what really helps is that I have a friend, or I have my husband, I have my village, my people around me that are so easily accessible. Like, I could just call them with one phone call. I could text them. For my husband, I just look at him. He's next to me like, I'm struggling. I can't do this. Can you help me figure out a way? So yeah, really just do it. Basically, just tell somebody. This is my method now. And my circle, my friends, my husband, they're the ones who I can ask for help. And most of all, especially after moving to Germany, I've lost a lot of those connections only because of distance, time restraints. Like, long distance relationships, whether it be friendships or romantic, are always difficult. It's been harder to connect with those people. So whenever I do have those moments, I talk to God, because He's always there. He can listen no matter what time of day. Whenever I need Him, He knows the answers to all the struggles that I have, even though I haven't figured it out yet. So Yeah, those are my main go-tos for whenever I feel overwhelmed or stressed.
And I like how you mentioned that yes, there are people around you, and although the people around you may have shifted to the other side of the world, because now you're literally 12 time zones away, or even 9 time zones away from where you used to be, and that when you need them, they're sleeping, or vice versa. But what doesn't matter is you have God no matter what time zone you're at. You can always pray to Him. And that can lead us to our next question, actually, is how does turning to God change the way we carry our worries? Yes, we can ask our loved ones. Yes, we can ask our parents for advice of what they went through with the similar situations. We can turn to our spouses. If for us who are married, we can turn to our friends, our peers, our elders. Really, we can turn to our, like you said, our village. But the question is now, how does turning to God change the way we carry our worries? And you answered that already, basically very well. Is that you're asking our Almighty God to help in our situation. You're praying to Him. So, of course, with the condition that we do our part as members of the Church of Christ, that we fulfill what He expects us to fulfill in terms of the good works that we have to do. We can turn to God, and that ultimately changes how we deal with the overwhelming feeling that we feel when life's pressures get too strong to carry, too heavy to carry. And when you ask for someone for help, they try their best, but they have their limitations. But with God, everything is possible. And so we can change the way that we carry our worries, because maybe we're not carrying our worries anymore, Jay. When we turn to God, we're going to get a much different result, a much more positive result, right? Would you agree with that?
For sure. I mean, like, there's only so much that is within us as humans, right? With our limitations, with our shortcomings. We do our best. We try to learn new skills, and we try to be more patient, and all of these things to develop as a better level, a better version of ourselves. But we are still limited to what we can do. But as Christians as well, because of our faith and our belief, we know that God can take care of everything, right? He can take care, and He can guide us when we don't know what the next step is to take. So I think in terms of when we've got worries, when we have pressure and stress in life, uncertainties, like, we turn to God because He can take care of us, right? Like you said, as long as we're doing what He wants, right? In return, we get the guidance, we get the love, right? And I think that's the thing that's very important, the love that we get from our Almighty God. Because when you are feeling stressed, when you're feeling overwhelmed and pressured, you feel alone at times, right? Especially for those who don't have a partner or somebody that they can, lean their shoulder on. Like, they feel like everything is on them, the world and everything else. They've got the whole weight of the world on their shoulders, so they are not able to, see hope or see care, because they just feel alone. But when we know that we have our Almighty God there, we get that boost of strength. We get that confidence, and we get that encouragement to face the challenges, and to face the worry, and to face the overwhelm, right? And we can become whelmed instead of being overwhelmed. But that's important, because we're limited what we can do. We have our limited capacity, so we take care of what we can control, and the things that's outside our control, God takes care of that, right? We don't know what other people will react. We don't know how things will turn out. But as long as we're focused on doing what we can control, are we pleasing God? Are we doing the right things? Are we taking the best steps, right? Everything else outside our control, leave it with God. And that gives you peace, right? It feels more freeing when you realize that the result, the outcome, that's in God's hands. When you know that it's not your responsibility, it's easier, right? Like, I'm starting to learn, right? I've been trying out to paint a picture, like, because Henry's been a great inspiration on painting pictures. But like, when it comes to a big project, and you need to come out with a big outcome, and there's always a lot of pressure, right? It's a pressure-filled situation. generally the one that's got the most pressure is the one leading it, the boss, the higher up, right? They're the ones that got the most pressure because they have to answer to somebody else higher up to them, right? But the workers, it's generally they just do their best, but then that pressure of how the outcome, the result will be, well, the boss has to answer for that. So it's almost kind of like that freeing feeling that when you know that God is there, He's got your back. He'll take care of you, right? As long as you're doing the work, as long as you're taking the steps within your capacity, right? He'll take care of the outcome. He'll take care of the rest, and it will turn out exactly how it's supposed to, right? Because God will make it so. Before I continue, though, before I pass it back to you, Henry, and you can hear like Chanel's thought as well. Let me just quickly read some of these comments because there's already a lot flooding in, and I already missed so much of it. But let me just quickly give a quick shout out to our Ohana there in chat. Hello to everyone that's been sharing their comments. We're reading it. We may not be able to read all of it out, but hello as well to Giancarlo Matera, greeting us from the United Kingdom. So good late evening over there. Benzon Miguel saying hello po to Ka John Evangelista. From Local of Killeen. Welcome back to Texas po. Paul Jacob Berese is there. Good afternoon and happy viewing to everyone. Alex Ariola is also greeting us from the OCC. And Kuya Jordan Augustine, happy viewing from Hawaii Pacific. Let me read a few comments from Ati Sko saying that she learned, I'm just reading a few that I can see here. We learn to depend on others after we get exposed to people at school or at work, but as members of the Church of Christ, we learn the importance of coordination and unity to be solid. Rachel in Essential shares as well. I've been used to handle things on my own and learn to become independent. At times when I asked for help as well, I didn't get that help I needed at that time. She adds on a few more things. I'm learning to slowly let go and let others help me. At times, it's hard to ask someone for help. And as a married couple, you work as a team together by supporting each other to get through everything. Rod Kahayag is saying that he's learning a lot just by listening on today's broadcast. So we do hope that everyone that is tuned in is also taking something away to help them, with everything. If they're facing overwhelm, to take life one step at a time, right? Brother Jared Rombo, he shares with us, handling everything on my own when I feel overwhelmed sometimes is to try to move beyond my limits, proving myself right. But Mario Cavello, some people struggle to articulate their needs effectively and may avoid asking for help as a result. And Brother Jared Rombo also adds, when we're asking at what point do you usually realize you need help, he says, I usually realize I need help at a point when I'm completely stacked and definitely need a hand for help. But like you realize when you need help, right? But asking for help, that's always a struggle. We'll read a few more comments later on, but back to you again, Henry.
All right, so we're going to proceed to the next question. Although, yes, we will pray to God and ask for his help. And then sometimes he has instruments around us to help us to get through these tough times. So our question we're going to ask now is, who do you feel God has placed in your life to walk with you during tough times? So me and Chanel can relate to this because, I came here about 3.5 years ago. Chanel, she's only been here for about a year. And so personally, we've shared our own individual experiences of moving to a different country, being from an island in the middle of the sea, and now we're here on the other side of the world. We've gone through our own experiences. So Chanel, I'm going to ask you, in your transition here over the past year that you've been here in Germany, you've gone through some pressures, some of it imposed by the requirements of being in this country, or sometimes, and I think we both can admit, it's just the pressure we put on ourselves to get things done. But with the people around you over the past year, as you expand in your comfort zone, who do you feel God has placed in your life to walk with you during any tough time that you've had while you've been here?
Well, for sure, I do want to give a big shout out to you, Kuya Henry, because who would have thought that Hawaii locals would be living in Germany? It's so random, and yet here we are, in the same country, not in the same locale, but close enough to each other that we interact with each other more than we've had back home on the island of Oahu.
Right? Wait, so I want to pause real quick. So me and Chanel, we were actually in the same local congregation for a while. Uh, I've never talked to her. We don't talk to each other. It's just too big. We're just too busy. I'm doing my own thing, and we're different ages. But now that we're here, like we're like brother and sister. We're cool. We're tight and everything. But yeah, sorry for the interruption. But go ahead. Return to your your response.
No, not at all, Kuya. Like seriously, I truly appreciate all that you've done for me whenever I got homesick, and just for the vents that I was able to have the vent session, because it definitely made life here feel a lot less lonely. So for sure, I truly believe that you are a godsend for this period of my life. Um, no tears right now, but as well as my husband too, because for the listeners and viewers, my husband and I were in a long distance relationship for 5 years. So of course, entering marriage, this is the first time we're able to see each other physically every day, nonstop, and I'm not tired of it at all. I love it. I'm so happy. But our energies are very opposite. Like I'm very extroverted, sometimes a little chaotic. He's very calm and introverted. So it balances out. He balances out the stress I face and anxiety I face in living in a new country and trying to communicate with people who don't completely understand me. And another person I want to say is my best friend, Adara. I feel like God has placed her in my life very early on. We've been best friends since we were children. And up till now, we still communicate with each other. But I know that she is someone who God sent to me to help me get a grasp on the spiritual aspect. Whenever I face trials or struggles, she brings me back to God. She brings me back to like, why is this happening? How can I turn to God? In fact, I'm reminded of a conversation I had with her that changed the way I prayed when I asked to God for help. And it sounds a little dumb, because at the time I used to think that when I prayed to God for help, it meant like I asked him for help on some things. And there's literally a verse that God says, give me all of your struggles. Give me your pains, your worries, regardless if the pains that we face are trials even given by God. I thought that just because God gave us trials, I have to deal with it on my own. God literally said, give it to him. So when she told me that, I was like, you're right. I can give all of it. I don't have to hold some of the struggles or trials that I face, because God is testing us on how much we trust him. And ever since then, I've changed the way that I prayed. I opened my heart up even more to God to ask for help, giving me answers, or at least redirecting me on the best path that led me closer to him. And I hope that our listeners and viewers can also relate, or if not, also adjust the way that they pray too, so that their hearts are more opened into trusting God as well.
So I like that you mentioned people who are physically not next to you. Like, of course, I know who Adara is, and she's not physically in this country. But when you mention someone or any loved one who is far, I mean, that's the joy of technology now, is that they don't physically have to be here to walk with you during tough times. You'll be walking and they'll be in your earpiece, or they'll be on your phone through a video call. They'll be with you through a chat platform of your choice and sending you a message and a link to a verse that just reminds you of what you need to hear or what you need to read at that time that you need to see it. Because it's a type of guidance that kind of points you and reminds you of how you need to change your perspective on all these things. Because yes, sometimes we forget that we can actually leave all of this to God. And maybe you've heard it many times before, but when you're overwhelmed, it's hard to reference that sometimes. It's hard to remember all the good advices that you were told. And so sometimes you need to be repeatedly told that over and over again so that you come to realize, oh, yes, I can leave that to someone other than myself. And there are those around us who can help us, maybe not physically next to us, but those who are we hold near and dear to our heart, those who we've grown up with, those who have always given us advices, like our elders, our kuyas, ates, aunties, uncles, moms, dads, or even the elders of the church. They can remind us how to get through these times because when you're overwhelmed, sometimes you don't know your next step. And it takes a reminder from someone to tell you how to make that one step forward. And I think the title of our broadcast today, taking life one step at a time, we kind of forget what that next step is. And so we kind of need that reminder from each other to see what that next step is going to be. So, Jay, is there people in your life that you think God has placed to help you get through your tough times?
Well, just like what both you and Chanel have shared, and even what Arohana are sharing, definitely people are placed, right? People are placed. People, you meet people. Sometimes there's certain friends that are only there for a certain season or chapter of your life to help guide you, to help you learn something new, to grow, and also to help you through a difficult situation in life. So definitely shout out to all those, right? Each one of us is a different person, of course, when that happens. But generally, there are people around us that are always there that we can rely on and give us some support, give us love, right? Give us even just like a hug and encouragement. That's what you need when you're facing challenges. Somebody to encourage you is a big gift already, like just words of encouragement to help you get through a tough situation in life. For me, the one that I want to really shout out the most, especially in this chapter of my life right now, is my wife, of course. For those who are married out there, I'm sure our partners in life are really a big support or a big pillar of strength, right? Whether it's the husband or the wife, and for both, for each other, right? They are supporting each other and helping each other grow, develop, become stronger in their faith, become stronger in their love, and be able to work and improve each other. That's really what a relationship is all about. And I think you get that with friends, right? For those out there who may not be married yet, you have friends. You have somebody that you call as your ate, your kuya, your big brother, someone that you look up to, someone that you can call to when you're going through tough times and challenging times. And for me, that would be Jem, that would be my wife. But also, kind of just what Brother Jared Rumble also shared, faith and melody. Like this broadcast, the Ohana that we have here, our Ohana in live chat, everyone that has been sharing their thoughts and insights and joining us, right? They're joining us in our conversation here. They're joining us by sharing what they've experienced, by sharing what they've been through, the challenges and the things that they've felt, right? They're able to, this conversation is a lot bigger than it is, right? It's not just us here on the panel, but it's even our Ohana that tunes in and shares and joins us in our conversation. And, it would be great to have everyone here on the panel. We're all like just chatting with each other, but that's what it is, even there in our chat. So I know that one of the toughest parts in my life was back in 2020, peak of the pandemic, a lot of medical things coming through and a lot of lockdowns because of the whole pandemic and not being able to see family. My daughter being diagnosed with autism and all the challenges that came with that. And just, finding faith and melody at that time was a godsend for me, right? Because it wasn't just the topics, it wasn't just the conversations, but it was the Ohana that's there, right, in the chat, because they were so supportive, they were so encouraging, and they showed their love in that way. Like we've never met in person, right? But because we share the same values and the same faith, it was lovely, right? And encouraging that during a difficult part in my life, they gave me encouragement, even though I didn't know them. I don't know them. I don't know most of these people in person, but it felt like they were my best friend. because of that. And I honestly, it's because God puts the right people in your life at the right time, right? And they may not be there for, forever, but some are. But even for those who are only there for a short chapter of your life, they help you get through it. They help you get through those things. And let me just quickly read a few of these last comments before we continue on with our discussion, because there's so much more to talk about. Hello as well to Josh Rafael Barkerpo, hopefully I've said that correctly, saying happy viewing po from the locale ng campsite. And a few comments here. I can see there's still a lot going up, so I'll just read a couple. From Jordan Augustine, the best feeling is that peace of mind after praying about your worries. Atesco says, the more I am stressed, the more I pray, and the more I become active, because only God can solve our problems. Brother Jared Rombo, turning to God changed the way we carry our worries, since all that we need, God provides and answers to them when devoting ourselves to prayers in our worries po. And Rachel also shares with us, every day, prayer is a part of my day, no matter what the situation. I learn to entrust everything unto Him and don't have to worry because God is there. It brings me closer and I become stronger in faith. I am teaching my children to always pray and let them know that God is always there to help them. And Brother Jared also shares, I feel God has placed the church administration, fellow brethren, and family members to walk with me during tough times. And he also adds, not forgetting Faith and Melody po, leading me through a positive way po. So we love that. We love those, both hearing those great comments about the program and the conversation that we have here on Faith and Melody. Rubik Joshua shares, sometimes you need to take 2 steps back before moving forward. Hashtag Germany. I can also relate to that one, right? Because sometimes for you to launch yourself forward, right, like physically, like generally you have to take a step back so you can have a running start, right? So sometimes life as well is kind of like that. You need to like step back a little bit so you can give yourself a running start to continue moving forward. So I love those comments. So it keeps us on track, right? It keeps us to doing the right thing. So that's where we want to take the next part of our conversation, just so that we can wrap up this great topic that we've had. Staying on track when life feels overwhelming, right? Feeling overwhelmed happens to all of us, but it doesn't mean that we're lost. Sometimes feeling overwhelmed, it's a reminder to slow down, right? To slow down and let our Almighty God lead us. So with that, what takes you off track, right? What usually makes you feel like you're going off track in life? Where does that come from? Chanel, have you ever experienced when life feels a little bit off track?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think right now, I would say I am in that season of learning and growing. I'm going through growing pains right now, basically. So I've had many moments within the past year already where I felt like I'm off track. I don't know if my path is going in the right direction. So really this year I've been heavily leading on not just my husband, but on my trust in God as well. And that's why I thought that our conversation today was so timely, because it helps me to reflect on what I need to work on in terms of asking for help, in terms of how I can better my conversations with God.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much things that piles up, right? There's the unexpected things, right? The unexpected outcome of things. There's responsibilities that comes up. There's unexpected trials. We all have trials and problems in different parts of our life. They all kind of like add up, and kind of like we start veering off track because of that. Stress and distractions, definitely something that everyone can relate to. There's always distractions. And even sometimes the distractions are self-inflicted, right? Because we know that we shouldn't be being on social media for too long, doom scrolling, but it's like you feel good. It's like it's a distraction. It gets rid of the stress a little bit, but then you know that you have to face whatever is causing you that stress. Sometimes your to-do list is supposed to be short, but it ends up being like a whole essay, and it becomes so challenging. So there's that. How about you, Henry? Have you ever felt when life feels off track? What usually makes you feel that way?
Uh, I feel I get off track when I forget things because that's when I know there's too much either on my plate or other things that I can't control have overtaken a situation. For example, I have a list of things to do on a Saturday. You start that list, but then someone calls and messages you, or multiple people message you saying, did you do this? Oh, we had this appointment. Oh, are you coming to this party? Oh, and all these other things that you had made commitments to, you completely forgot about it. And so there are other things that just pulls you in different directions. Okay, when you're pulled off your track, you're literally off track because you you had a track. You were on a path that you had plans to, and then something kind of pushed you off, and now you don't know how to get back on track. And like you said,
Mm.
some of those things are unforeseen circumstances. Some of those things are uh, accidents on the road, even traffic, things that you just cannot control. And I think that's one of the things is that we all have a plan to get from point A to point B, whether it be in a given moment of trying to get to a destination or even in the longer sense of trying to reach a goal, which we've talked about goals many times in the different broadcasts that we've had, going from point A to point B, and we forget that there are other things that we just did not foresee. We cannot expect or know all the things that there is to expect. We try to say, we try to have the term expect the unexpected, but you
Mhm.
know, we can't really because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Um, and some of those things that we try to expect are a lot larger than we realize. And sometimes the things that are potentially going wrong, it could be within a physical distance from us. Like, oh, I forgot something within my own household, like my water heater needs to be replaced, and then all of a sudden you consume your whole day just waiting for the repairman to fix your water heater. That's a very specific example, but there are basically things that are just within the realm of we don't expect, we don't know what's going to happen, and so we try our best to prepare ourselves for everything that could go wrong. Like Erica said, there's a plan A, B, C, D, but there's still something that would have required a plan Z, and we can't see that far. And so that's when we start to get. For me, that's how I know I'm getting off track is, or I feel like I'm getting off track is, I just did not foresee certain situations and things happening. And that's where the overwhelmingness comes in, and where I need help is because I've never been through this situation before. Um, I've never had to deal with this kind of pressure before. And as someone who's going through the term, the term in the states is adulting, and the term adulting, it doesn't stop. We're always learning something through years of marriage, through years of being an adult, of years of finances, of all the things that we have to deal. Growing up is just very overwhelming. And like we learn, or what we are learning in our discussion today, it's really just one step at a time. We can't solve everything immediately. It does just take the ability to keep on going and not always going alone, and to realize that we can't do it all alone, and to realize that we have those around us who are placed on purpose to be around us to help us through, and that it won't always be so overwhelming, and sometimes we can find solutions to our problems first. And I think almost probably always first, always with a prayer, because you're already seeking clarity, you're already seeking God for guidance, you're already seeking for a solution uh, through the guidance of our Almighty God. And I think that's what will help us to get back on track, is to always be reminded that we have God on our side.
Yeah. So I mean, with that, Henry, and also Chanel, right? Like, a lot of those unexpected things that happens in life that veers our plans off track and starts not working out the way that we expected. The most important thing, because those things cause stress, right? But I think it's very important that we make good decisions when when we're in the midst of it. And generally, when you're stressed, right, everything starts speeding up, right? You start speeding up and making too fast decisions and might be poor decisions. You start reacting impulsively instead of taking some time to think carefully, like what the actions that you might take and what the possible outcomes might be. There's all of those things that we have to think about. And when you're in a stressful situation, it makes it very, very difficult. So it's very important that we learn how to slow down, to pause, right? To pause. So when you are in the midst of pressure and overwhelm and stress, when things start speeding up, what's your cue? I'll ask you, Chanel, first. Like, what's your cue? What's your habit? What's your reminder to pause first before making decisions during stressful, challenging times?
I think my reminder, my cue is when I start to feel it physically. Like if I start feeling like my body tense up, my shoulders start to feel tense, and then I don't move, then that's when I start to reframe my mindset and ask myself, like, am I having an emotional reaction? Or is this a logical reaction? What is affecting me this way? And from there, I try to break things down logically instead of getting too emotional with my reactions. Because, of course, when you get emotional, it's a lot more easier to get carried away with the pain and distresses that you may feel. So the moment you recognize, like, okay, no, I'm just being emotional right now. So let me calm down my nervous system, maybe take a dance break and shake off the stress if I need to.
A
If
dance
not,
break. Oh, wow.
yeah. Yeah, seriously, like literally shake the stress, because sometimes I get so tense I can't move, right? So if I just move my body around, do a little dance break, then it makes my body feel tired, that it loosens up basically. And then from there, like my blood flow can just properly circulate through my veins. And then I start thinking clearer, and I start writing it down. Writing down the things that I need to do really helps me out a lot, because if I'm stuck in my head, I write it down on paper and then I can see it, and I don't have to worry about it so much because it's already written down. I'm not going to forget it. So really, those are my cues. Everyone is different, of course, but for me, it's really the physical tension that I feel in my body, and I'm like, okay, my body is freaking out, so I need to stop and change it up, do something new.
I like that. That's a great tip. I like the dancing one. Movement, right? Movement, get the blood flowing, because yeah, you end up just like hunched over your desk working on something, and stress kind of stiffens you up, right? So I think that's a great tip there. How about you, Henry? How do you remind yourself during those times of stress?
So it's funny because I'm gonna paint another picture again. Think of someone who is really stressed out, who you think they need a break, and they're just not having a good time, right? Usually it's somebody, like you kind of mentioned, they're at their desk, and they're usually
Mm.
not, like their hair is all sticking up, and they're a little dirty maybe, and their desk is messy, and in those cartoons sometimes you even see like smoke coming out of their body. It's like it's an image of someone who's about to blow up usually, right? And that's what I think is a solution to a lot of problems is physical things, like go take a shower or go exercise, go do something to make yourself get rid of all that dirt, go eat a good meal, go get a nice rest. I don't think you can see a stressed out person who is overwhelmed, who is super clean, nice makeup on, and they're all dressed up in their best attire for an evening at a nice dinner. You wouldn't call that person stressed. They really prep themselves to be in the best state that they can be. They're all at their best because they exercised, they took a shower, they cleaned themselves, they uh, they spent all day to prepare for a nice event. Would you call that person stressed? No, they prepared. They got into a state of preparation for something big for that event. And so I wouldn't call that person overwhelmed at all. They're excited. They're excited about life. They're excited to take on whatever challenge that they're about to go for. And so, back to answer the question, how do I remind myself to pause before making decisions when I'm stressed? Is I make sure I do my best to take care of myself. Like we joke about it a lot. I eat, and I don't say I eat a lot. I just make sure I'm fed. I make sure I get a nice, very nice rest. Usually, the best part of me, and I said this a lot. The best of me is the rested me. So if I'm well rested, then I feel mentally present. I feel all there. If I had a good night's rest, and if I had a nice big breakfast, and I take my morning shower and I go into my car, work at my workplace, they get the best of me because I'm starting the day fresh, well rested. I had a good workout in the morning. I ate well. And so before I can make any decisions, I make sure my physical well-being is all there and I'm good to go and I'm ready. Because you want to be at your best before you make a good decision. So if I'm too stressed, I have to pause. I can't make a big decision when I'm stressed because it's not going to be a best decision. It's going to be maybe, like you said before, maybe a good decision, but not the best decision. And you always want to make those hard decisions when you're at your best frame of mind. That's what I think, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like chess, right? If in chess, you can generally find out why you lost the game because of a move you made like 10 moves back, something like that. Because you didn't make the best move, you made a good move, but it wasn't the best one because you didn't think it thoroughly. So look after yourself, look after your mental health, look after your body, take a shower. I think we mentioned last week about taking cold showers, right? That helps you to take care of your stress levels, to lower it. All of those things. It's very, very important. You know, for me, I have an actual app on my phone that dings every 2 hours. And that's my actual reminder, right? To take a pause and reflect what have I been working on the past 2 hours? What have I accomplished? What's stressing me out? Like it actually rings and stops my phone so that it's like an actual cue. And every 2 hours, it does that, except when I'm sleeping. But basically, you know, it's something that you can have. That's because I like using technology. I like what Chanel said earlier about when things are in your head, you write it down. I use computers to do that mostly. But I like just getting it out of your head and using apps. So yeah, have something that could actually tell you to pause because you realize, for me, at least I've realized that a lot of the things that stressed me out, they're not really that important. I would probably say 95% of things that causes me to be stressed, to be overwhelmed, isn't really as important as I thought, right? Sometimes when you're in that stressful situation, the small things become really gigantic things in your head, and they're really a lot more bigger than what they're bigger than what they really are. So, sometimes give yourself time to pause, whether it's like an alert on your phone that goes off every so many hours, mine's every 2, and then kind of like it's like a cue to like reflect and take a small break and be like, okay, like what have I accomplished and what's stressing me out? And is it really worth me spending the energy, right? Because stress causes energy, uses energy as well when you're in a stressful mood. And overall, if anything that is troubling you or that's challenging in life, we know that we need to ask God for help. That's why we always pray as well. But sometimes when we do pray, we don't get the answer straight away, right? Like usually you pray and you don't expect that God will answer you immediately. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you get an answer straight away, but other times a little bit of patience, and sometimes the answers aren't quite as clear. So how can trusting God's guidance bring peace? Because that's ultimately what we want when we're facing the overwhelming challenges in life. and taking life one step at a time. We want peace in life. We don't want the stress. We don't want the crazy, frantic, lifestyle. We want things to be peaceful, to have a nice flow, to work well. But when we're praying to God and we're not seeing the answers quite clearly yet, how can trusting God's guidance bring that peace, even though the answer isn't quite clear yet? Let's start with you, Chanel.
I think I really appreciate having our weekly worship services twice a week, because when you're in the house of worship and you are automatically put in that environment where everything is solemn, it's quiet. Of course, you have the organ playing in the background, but the environment already prepares you for a more proper, heartfelt conversation with God. So having those worship services forces me to reflect and think of all the things, every single thing I could worry about and then stress out about, and give it to God. And as soon as I pray about it, I talk to God. You truly have to let it go. You truly have to let it go, because after that, after having the worship service, hearing the lesson, and having my own personal prayer, I leave it behind me, because I know that God has it. And that's when I can truly feel peace, because the problems that I don't have to think about anymore. I already forgot about it, because God will take care of it in his own way. And if ever I get stressed again, of course, you'll have to just keep trusting in God. Trust is something you have to work on, especially as someone who's coming from, trust issues. But you should never have trust issues with God. He is the only one you cannot have trust issues with, because he won't fail you either way. And I think just knowing that God will never fail and he will always keep his promises, that makes me so hopeful. And hope is what I hold on to whenever stress gives me so much pain and worries. So I hold on to the hope that God fulfills his promises, and that whatever direction he guides me in, I tell myself I want to be on the path that God wants me to be in. And if the plans that I have aren't aligned with his, then change my mind, redirect me so that I can be united and in mind with him. So that's really the best way I deal with it all, and how I can truly feel peace with God.
I love that. That's a great reminder, for not just us here in the panel, but even for those who are tuned in, because stress is a part of life. We try to avoid it, but it's always going to be there. Things aren't always going to work out to our plans. But like you said, God knows the best for us. And peace is knowing that God is in control of your life, right? And no matter what stress comes in, as long as you believe that, you trust in that, and you do what God wants, you take action. You don't just be lazy, not do anything, but you're doing the right thing. You're doing the things within your control. God will take care of the rest. Henry, any final words on this part in terms of trusting God before we wrap up our conversation?
Yeah, so to conclude, basically, we trust in God's guidance because it provides clarity, not confusion. We trust in God's words because it provides light, not darkness. Whatever we're going through, whenever we seek for God's guidance, whenever we come to God through prayer, it's always going to feel lighter. It's always going to feel better. You're always going to feel comfort knowing that you are seeking God for your solution. You're seeking God when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're stressed. And that when life's pressures get too heavy, you can be led in the right direction. Every time we go to worship services, we listen to the lesson, we sing the hymns. Even the lyrics in the hymns sometimes can provide the answer to the problem that we're going through. Or at the very least, it will help you to realize that you're not alone. And I think sometimes we forget when we feel we're alone, we really are not alone. We need to be reminded that we're never alone, and that every weight is too difficult to carry when you feel that there's no one there to guide you and to help you. But there always is someone to give you additional strength to whatever it is life's taking you through at the time. pressure makes diamonds. Pressure makes us stronger. Stress can be a good thing, um, but the load can be heavy sometimes. But never forget that we have our Almighty God to rely on to provide that clarity for us. And that's why we need to take life one step at a time. It might be difficult, but if we progress with patience, with endurance, and constantly seeking God's guidance, we will find that clarity that we need to move forward. And I think that is how we can deal with when life gets too overwhelming for us.
It's been a great conversation, honestly, like in terms of what everyone's been sharing, Henry, Chanel, Erica earlier, but especially our live chat, our Ohana there in live chat. There's so much comments coming in. We're reading it. We may not be able to, we don't actually have time to read them all out right now, but we are reading it and we are loving the insights and the thoughts that you are sharing with us in our conversation. So, because we are running out of time in the show, again, thank you to everyone that's been sharing. And just a final word from us, us here on the panel. Just a reminder that when we do feel overwhelmed, it's normal. It reminds us, let it be a reminder to turn to our Almighty God instead of relying only on what we can do, right? God stays close to us even during the challenging, difficult times, and He guides us step by step. By trusting in God and listening to His direction through prayer, we can face life's challenges with faith, peace, and hope, knowing we are never alone. Hopefully, that's been something inspirational for you all to take. But of course, we also have our verse of the week, which also aligns to our topic today about taking life one step at a time. This is our verse of the week, which is titled, How to Deal with Feeling Overwhelmed. Let's all take a listen to this. Kuyatek, if you got a verse of the week ready?
Hello, everyone. I'm Brother Ramil Regino. When we feel overwhelmed with life's difficulties, we might ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? What should we remember when we're in the thick of hard times? Who should we rely on when we're feeling overwhelmed? As God's chosen people, we should rely on our Lord God to teach us. Let God teach us by means of His words taught to us during our worship services how to overcome these problems. And at the same time, keep in mind that our Lord God lets His people go through problems to strengthen our faith. So remember to always rely on and trust in God with a sincere heart. No matter how hard our life gets, know that God will not abandon us. Instead, He'll stay with us and teach us the right way to go. We know this because this is what He teaches on this verse of the week in Isaiah 30, 20 and 21. The Lord will make you go through hard times, but He Himself will be there to teach you, and you will not have to search for Him anymore. If you wander off the road to the right or to the left, you will hear His voice behind you saying, "Here is the road, follow it." Dear friends, we also want you to receive God's care for His chosen people. So we invite you, study the words of God with us here in the Church of Christ. Start by visiting incmedia.org and find out more about God's teachings that can lead you closer to Him. This is our verse of the week. Stay safe, stay strong, and God bless.
Thank you again to Brother Ramil for that inspiring message to take with us for the week ahead. And hopefully you all enjoyed today's conversation. Let's just go around just to give any final greetings and shout outs. Starting with Chanel. Chanel, thank you. Chanel, thank you for joining us today as well.
Yes, thank you to the Faith and Melody cast crew. I love you all, and I am always happy to join in. So thank you for making my experience amazing. Shout out to my best friend who I have mentioned in this show today, Adara Malapit. I hope you're doing well po, along with Cadensel Malapit. Can't wait to hear more of your advice. We need another session soon. Shout out to my husband as well, who's been so supportive and who's always actively listening next door, nearby, somewhere. And yeah, thank you, INC Radio Faith and Family.
Thank you for joining us today, Henry.
So
Over
I
to
would
you.
like, as always, shout out to my wife who is just on the other side of this wall, always tuning in, supporting every time I have INC Radio broadcast, as well as my children who, although they may be on their devices, they are listening to the background noise of what we're talking about. But this is part of their routine. Daddy's in the room and we're doing INC Radio, so they're used to it. Shout out to Central Europe families, always tuning in every Monday, making it part of their Monday dinner routine to always listen to Faith and Melody. And shout out to all those who always give their comments and participate in our conversation. It's nice to see your feedback and to always have that discussion, live discussion with us every time we have an episode on Faith and Melody. Back to you, Jay.
Shout out to Erica for producing today's topic conversation. We loved it. As well, again, thank you to Chanel, to Henry, and to everyone there, our Ohana and live chat. Shout out to my wife, Jem, and to our daughter, Lena, who I think might be waking up because I can hear something behind me. It is like, 5 in the morning right now. But yes, thank you to everyone that joined us. Once again, to all of you, we love you so much for joining us all the time here on Faith and Melody. And just to wrap up everything, again, this is Jay here in Australia.
And I'm Henry here in Germany, and we have been your hosts for today. We hope today's episode has given you a positive start for your week ahead. But to close off our show, we'll be listening to We Have Our God. Join us again for the rest of this week on the next episode of Faith and Melody. Take care and aloha.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great start to your week.
Bye.
In every trial He has given us, when the terror comes like a storm and destruction comes like a whirlwind, when distress and problems come away, we have our God. Many failures happen in our lives, but if we endure to the end, we shall be saved. No matter what, we'll hold on to our duty. Even if struggles come across our way, we have our God. Whatever happens, we will still continue. Our Almighty God has made us, and it is our duty to serve Him faithfully. We will use our strength to worship our Lord God. God is a refuge and our strength. God is great, He should be praised. For our God will not forsake His people, because He is pleased to make us His nation. And yes, we have our God. God is a refuge and our strength. God is great, He should be praised. For God will not forsake his people, because he is pleased to make us his nation. Then yes, we have our God.